Okay, here we are. Recording for my final battle of the main season before we get to playoffs here. And I will be playing against Jack Trooper right here with his very interesting semi-stall team. You've got Kyurem, not really a stall Pokemon, but then you've got Gliscor, Dondozo, Scar and Bliss, Clodsire, Megadino, big physical with Avalon-Gasui, kind of looks like what you'd expect from more typical stall fare. The two Pokemon that make it kind of weird are Kyurem and Zygarde 10, both of which have very strong offensive capabilities and can really kind of punch holes in a lot of teams. So what we're seeing here is not really stall. It's very very defensive, but there are two big threats that make it so you can't just prep stall breaking tech. It's made for a pretty strong team. He's currently third in the pool. In fact, he might even be guaranteed third place. I can check the standings later. Now, importantly, both of us are guaranteed playoffs, so this match only kind of affects seeding, not so much anything else. We're both guaranteed playoffs, and whether we win or lose, it doesn't really affect anyone else getting into playoffs. So I've decided to have a little fun with the team building this week. So quick little reintroduction to my team. I have Goldango, prevents hazard removal, then Tinglu and Toxapex, who can set a bunch of hazards, and then some various offensive Pokemon with Weezing as a nice little additional defensive piece. That's how the team usually functions. But now getting into what I actually have this week. So for a stall team, they tend to use a lot of tactics like Toxic and that sort of stuff. And Jack's a bit of an odd player, so he might run some, off-color like Calm Mind, Blissey, or Swords Dance Skarmory, or something like that. So this Tinglu is built to kind of take all of that. It's got Rest to heal off any status conditions. And potentially even stall turns if it gets into a PP War situation. Payback, just for some damage that hits flying types. Rocks, just to kind of make him take chip damage. And then Whirlwind, so that I can phase out any sort of Skarmory, Blissey setup nonsense that I just don't want to deal with. And this set should be basically immune to pretty much anything Clodsire, Blissey, Skarmory, or Gliscor can put out. Avalugg with its super effective stab, and Kyurem with its super effective stab, those could still be a problem for it. But other than that, this should be a very, very effective Tinglu set. Goldango is a bit more of a standard Goldango set. I've kind of gone back and forth between Air Balloon and Shuckaberry. Air Balloon makes it a little better versus Kyurem, because it's forced to use a move besides Earth Power the first turn to pop it. A little better versus Gliscor. If it is the Toxic, Rocks, Roost, Earthquake set, it literally can't affect me as long as I have the Balloon. Knowing Jack, he'll probably have knockoff. He's definitely a better player than running that, but we'll see. But also it's very good versus Clodsire, kind of forces it to run something besides stabs. So I decided to stick with Air Balloon, and I also have a different tool for Zygarde. And yeah, I have Psyshock here just to beat Calm Mind Blissey, which is usually an answer into Goldango. So this is a more standard set I'm running. The Overquill's definitely a little interesting. Crunch clicks very well into this team. The only real answers are Avalon-Hisui, assuming Fairy Terra, Mega Audino, which isn't really an answer to Overquill until you know all four of my moves, and then Terra Fairy Zygarde, or I guess just Terra Ground offensively. Aqua Jet is to try to punish a Terra Ground Zygarde that becomes weak to water, and just give me some priority in general, maybe finish off a Gliscor. Crunch clicks on everything, and then Taunt is so I can try to set up on, things that I would like to taunt, like Skarmory, Blissey, etc. Perhaps even Mega Audino. Zarude, I'm running a fighting type Terra with Drain Punch Bulk Up as this is supposed to be my win con. It can hopefully punch through Kyurem as it's a bit faster than it. Bulk Up lets it set up on Gliscor, because after a Bulk Up I'm taking less than half from Earthquake, even after Terra Fighting. And then, yeah, Knockoff's just a generally good damage move. He doesn't really have many Dark Resists. I can remove items. It should be pretty good. And then Jungle Healing just muscles through all the sort of status stuff his team might have. Of course, this set is walled by Dondozo, thanks to Unaware, but we'll get to that in a second. The Zoroark Hisui mostly exists for Trick, Will-O-Wisp, and Hex, but Hyper Beam is also just very funny. I might be able to finish off some weakened stuff. I would normally run Hyper Voice if this were a more serious match, but again, this match does not affect playoffs at all, besides standings. And then for Gourgeist, this is the set I'm the most proud of and is definitely the silliest. It's essentially just a PP stall set. So we can skill swap on Dondozo to steal its unaware so it can't muscle through us with curses. Same with Clodsire in case he tries some weird setup Clodsire thing. And also we can steal Gliscor's Toxic Heal to try to kill it that way. Shadow Sneak is a very high PP move, and also we can finish off a weakened Zygarde or Kyurem. Rest can get rid of any Toxic, just live through any status, and essentially PP stall most of the Pokemon on this team, and Will-O-Wisp helps us get through Zygarde 10. So this set is very silly, but it's good against most of these Pokemon besides Kyurem. Kyurem is definitely the biggest threat for me this week. I don't really have many switches, and my best answers are kind of Goldango and Zarude after Terra, so I'm not super thrilled about the Kyurem matchup, but we'll do our best. But this set, I think, can honestly take on most of the other Pokemon. Not so much Calm Mind Blissey, we have other things for that, but it can take on Dondozo, it can take on Clodsire, it can take on Zygarde 10 with Wisp. And yeah, the goal of this is just to burn some stuff and get out. And the reason I'm running a lot of rests is just because, you know, between Toxic Blissey, Toxic Skarmory, Toxic Clodsire, there's a lot of status spam, and it'd be nice to just be able to heal that all off. And besides Kyurem and Zygarde, this team is rather slow-paced, so spending turns sleeping shouldn't be too much of an issue. Granted, Jack is a very interesting player. He comes up with crazy shit all the time, so I have no idea what to actually expect, and he might just clean the floor with some crazy Avalok set. So I'm excited. It should be a fun match. Who knows what'll happen. See you when the game starts.